Hello everyone, welcome to our channel University of Political Science. Today we discuss about theory and approach of international politics. International relation is far beyond other social science in the development of theories. It is quite natural as the discipline is of foreign origin, in of recent origin. Notwithstanding this limitation, some remarkable developments have already taken place in sphere of theory of international politics building. The works of William Fox, Stanley Hoffmann, Klaus Knorr, Verba, Horace Harrison, James Rosenau, Morton Kaplan, J.W. Burton, Hans Morgenthau, and David Singer, etc., have endeavored to develop in theoretical perspective of this discipline. Effort to propound a general theory of international relation are inspired by a number of factors. First of all, they are impressed and encouraged by the achievement of natural science. In process, in predictability, a theory is very useful in beginning about order in mass of data. It may take as a guide to action of international life. It is a crucial tool for understanding that gives meaning to some of phenomenon. It would make international relation is really policy science that would be great help to statesmen and decision makers. It is also useful to further creative research, thus the significance of theoretical speculation and perspective of international relation cannot be ignored. Meaning of approach and the theory of international politics. The world theory itself is fully of ambiguity and confusion. The world theory derives from the Greek, which meant to learn. It is often used to synonym for a although conjunction of idea. Some people mean by the theory of interruption or a point of view, whereas other world view at the communication of explanation. However, mostly people agree that the chief function of theory is explanation. But the problem, especially in international politics, is that there is no clear agreement on the question as to what should be explained and what can be explained. For scholars never agree on the nature of scope theory of international politics. For example, some authority identify international relation as the interaction of foreign policies. Thus, their circumscription of collecting data for studies would be determined by this consideration. This is a matter of approach, but when his approach is employed in the study of foreign policy. A kind of theory employs as an explanation of foreign policy as it is made and executed in each country. A theory coming out of this way may be merely as a theory of foreign policy and therefore only a partial theory of international relation by an outsider, but one of who view international politics as the interaction of foreign policies would regard that theory of foreign policy as theory of international politics. In this way, the nature of theory is determined by the approaches and the two are not easily separable, because any theory of international relation is largely in accordance with a particular view about international politics, and that is essentially is a matter of approach. The term approach and theory represent two different steps in the study of international politics. The former can be understood only in the context of the latter. For all those, scholars give the theory clearly, their approach can be known by a critical analysis of the theories. If there is a difference in theories, it is a weighing of this disadvantage of approach behind those theories. But for a scholar or researcher's approach comes first, and theory is the outcome of the study undertaken with a particular approach in viewpoint. Definition of theory of international relation. Both traditional and modern behavioral scholars have given their definition of theory of international relations. Stanley Hoffmann, a scholar of the former school, has defined contemporary theory of international relations as a systematic study of observable phenomena that try to discover the principal variable, to explain behavior and to reveal the characteristic type of relation among national units. But Hoffmann pointed out that within the general limit of the scope of international relation theory, one should also incorporate the works of normative thinker and of policy scientists. The former scholar with his philosophical orientational ideal, mainly with the evolution of political reality and with the generation of prospection of the remedies leading toward to better political life. The latter, in the style of engineers, attempt to be beyond description and explanation the vendor to make policy, applied theory which will serve the interest of a given political entity. J. David Singer is a significantly Oriental scholar, has given in a brief definition, theory is a body of internally consist empirical generalization of descriptive, predictive, and explanatory power. For Singer, this generalization should be based on expressed in the form of hypothesis and proposition that are the testable, verifiable, falsifiable, and controllable. The traditional and behavioral definition influence upon each other. Both agree the generalization must be empirically divided, logically sound, and have the capability to describe, explain, and predict. It may be noted, however, that Singer there is the analysis of the theoretical role of prescription. He arranges that normative or prospective thinker and policy scientists may will be defined from scientific theory, but that their prospective maximum are not part of theory. Category of approach and theories. In international relations, a number of approaches and theories have been developed in the 20th century. The same can be grouped under the three broad categories under the traditional school, the scientific or behavioral school, and post-behavioral school. The traditional or classical approach is based primarily on philosophically historical ethics and law. It holds that general proposition cannot be accorded more than relative and inclusive status. Most of the traditional beliefs that international relation is the study of pattern of action and reaction among sovereign states as represented by their government elites. It focused attention on the attractive of the diplomats and scholars who carry out the foreign policies of their respective national government. For this school, international relation is nothing but diplomacy and strategy and operation and the conflict. In simple word, in the study of peace and war, and many more. The scientific or behavioral scholar, it is on the question of the identify of the discipline that the scientific or behavioral school of thought of first documented the traditionalist. For the scientists generally consider international relation to be too broad and complex a field to be embraced by political science or any other single discipline. Most advocates of the scientific approach believe international relation to be an indisciplinary field, and the really not only the political science and history, but also one that social and natural science. It also be clarified that the both of the traditional and scientific school are to some extent their disciplinary. There's distinction between the two explain Columbus and Olaf lies primarily in the effort of later to overcome the errant impression of the formerly very quantitative technique and model building. According to the scientifically oriented scholar, international relation has traditionally applied had a new set of methodological tools must have been employed if the highest of theory RPAS Post-behavioral school, the controversy between traditional and behavioral elicited in the 19th, 17th century. In the 95th century, both scholar and author have advanced putting arguments such as politics cannot be studied scientifically or the political science without quantification, and value freedom is not every useful. The trend is toward electrically and oriented study, which is also known as for behavioral orientation. It combines elements of the scientific approach with clear value objectives, such as control of nuclear weapons, the submission of peaceful method for war to dispute settlement, the control of population, the protection of the environment, reduction of poverty, disease and human alienation, and the quest of a just international economic order. Professor Rammel, the study can be stated the final example of the latest post-behavioral relation approach. In the study of Rammel, no follower of the behavioral scientific orientation, using all developed statistical method to process. His data presented evidence confirming some of the earliest 19th century liberal theory hypotheses regarding to these causes of war. Contrary to the early behaviorist, Rammel started in the article as the saw nothing incompatible between processing normative or even ideologically orientation hypothesis provided by a subjective or scientific or testing designed by the verified false hypothesis. Idealist theory. The disadvantage First World War in 1914 stimulated the quest of knowledge that could address its contemporary world problem in general, the war in the particular. A theoretical perspective with sustainable generalization about the condition under which war might be avoided and peace maintained is urgently needed. For that purpose, a theory was required that could forces incoming war reliability and other could suggest policymakers the way to prevent their outbreak. The diplomatic, historical perspective behavioral in the year after the First World War. Marxist tendencies theory after the Bolshevik Revolution in Russia also made a face of itself. But domain theory between the two world wars in the Western order's political idealism, it main advocate concord Woodrow Wilson, Butterfield, and Bertrand Russell. According to idealist theory, the society and state are the outcome of evolution. This process of evolution is leading us toward the perfection from imperfection. Basis assumption, Cragley and Whitford observed what understand their movement into a successive paradigm among Western scholars, right? The assumption about reality they share and the homogeneity and the conclusion, their perspective elected according to them idealistic project, all have usually listed upon the following says human nature, fundamental concept of human for welfare, bad human behavior and protected, not able protected, what represented, why is not in trouble, why is an international problem, an international society as a recognition. Suggestion for reform, moral national should be according to the moral principle in the international behavior. Is a kind of traditional power politics, follow politics, non-partnership, behaving in this way may gradually minimize that bad effect of power politics. Attempt should be made the created supranational institute to replace the comparative the wire-prone system of territorial status, setting up the League of Nations, the intention of international cooperation with social matter, the approaches to the peace were sufficient to idealist international solution to problem trial. The legal control of power also is called a new traditional norm. Some say the initiation of the war and should occur in perspective. Another way, suggestion by the idealist or the claimist weapon, The effort should be made to see the totalitarian forces caused the existence. Some ideologies saw the way of the space, welfare and restoration of the international monetary system, and is the elimination of barriers of the international trade critical evaluation. Idealistic theory can be criticized of many accounts. Most of assumption on which is the based on only particularly correct, partially corrected, though full of these idealistic norms. Yet it is the far from reality. No wonder it is doubted, is imaginary, impracticable, and thus efficient suggestions given by the reform of international situation are difficult to be implemented. Realistic theory and others more. 6 principles of Morgenthau's realism. Object of law of human nature, interest in term of power, interest in dynamic, universal moral principle in completion, moral aspiration, the autonomy of political sphere, and other modes. Power, lead of continuous where, the element of should, wrong concept of human nature, fall of construction, objection international questionable, ignores and non-political relation, one-sided theory, politics non-autonomous, raises new question, local methodology, or more system theory. System theory. This concept of system is considered useful for both theoretical and practical analysis. Political scientists like David Stone, Gabriel Almond, Morton Kaplan have developed the system theory of general system theory. Stone and Almond propounded this theory in the sphere of national politics, and Kaplan and McLean in the field of international politics, and included general system theory and concept of international system and subordinate system first reason. Prominent scholar of international system James Rousseau has suggested that systematic regard pushed not only in the term of local, national and international system, that is, acted that the relation pattern as a focal point but also in term of issues area. Kaplan's 6 model, the balance of power system, the Lux bipolar system, the tied bipolar system, the universal system, the hierarchical system, the deviated or non-deviated from, and unit vote system. Decision making theory. Its theory has developed especially in the sphere of foreign policy making. It concentration on the person who has shaped international event rather than on international relations as the maker of foreign policy and maximum the international policies and international situation are the view from that perspective. This theory was initiated in 1954 by Sandra Brack in Spain, the exploration of international politics through an analysis of the complex transmission of state behavior. Marxian theory. Theory Karl Marx has written extremely throughout the life and produced numerous that recognize Tron as the great philosopher and theory of the modern Tron. Yet he has not put forward the theory of international relation of Morton Kaplan, scientific. Thank you very much. Thank you.